Welcome viewers, student and leftist suggest Lawrence Tribe has performed it again. In his conflict towards an frequently conservative Supreme Court, the Harvard Law Schuylkill relic has as soon as once more chosen to smear Clarence Thomas, this time through distorting the undeniable that means of a judicial ethics code. The smear requires one to think about Thomas's wife, Ginny, is blanketed by means of that judicial ethics code, even although she is no longer a judge. As we step into details, it will be massive if you can hit on the subscribe button below and hit the notification bell for latest updates from us. This is all in a sample of Tribe elevating scurrilous and beside the point assaults on Justice Thomas, whom he accused of being a latter-day device of Chief Justice Roger Taney of Dred Scott notoriety. Tribe proposed that Thomas come what may honestly based totally his notions of Americans' herbal proper of self-defense on Taney's notorious denial of any rights to black Americans. Of course, this deranged deconstruction of Thomas's argument explodes in Tribe's face. But I confess that few assaults on Thomas astound me anymore. What started up me at some point of Judge Thomas's 1991 affirmation hearings was once the extent to which businesses smeared him, occasionally even altering quotations from his work when it matched their purpose. At the time, I was once naive in the methods of Washington. Of course, I understood the historicism of leftist students that ought to allow them to lay the advent of fact to their wills. But seeing this carried out towards a man I had served for nearly 4 years disgusted me. At the hearings, however, the goal grew to be the hunter and reverse the game, turning the object into the subject and redefined their relationship. His devastating denunciation of his tormentors, high-tech lynching, which he recounts in his autobiography and the subsequent award-winning film, Created Equal, confirmed us a man who was once now not inclined to truly take something the left dished out. But as Thomas's legal professional at the time, Mark Paoletta, now notes, the left is persistent, and human beings who are polled these days have adopted his accusers' lies, accepting the left's model of the occasions of that time. To remind this new target audience of what absolutely went on, Paoletta and documentary producer Michael Pack joined forces to current Justice Thomas anew. Even Washington Post columnists such as Kathleen Parker, amongst others, expressed admiration for their film. In observing the biography and seeing those exchanges from the 1991 hearings again, two matters grew to become clear. That Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Joe Biden have to megastar in fewer films, and that Professor Tribe must see extra of them. Or possibly not. Tribe seems as soon as once more to be starring in a Roadrunner cartoon. His cutting-edge diatribe struggles to dramatize Justice Thomas's alleged judicial misconduct related to the solemn constitutional obligations of every other committee, the January 6 fiasco. Here Tribe takes on the Roadrunner Biden function via blatantly distorting a federal judicial code and making use of it to his wife, Ginny Thomas, who is now not at shoes and is no longer worried in any applicable way to the January 6 committee business. Another Thomas, some other committee, the equal historic nonsense. This receives historical very fast, as one sees from Tribe's charge. As serious as this sounds, it is in reality laughable, and on many levels. First, the code he cites does now not even follow to Supreme Court justices. It is clear from the language of the code that solely decreased federal court docket judges are covered. And tellingly, the code gives no proposed punishment for its violation. Second, the code worries participation in cases. Hence, the lack of citation marks round or his spouse is telling. Tribe himself inserted or his spouse, understanding full nicely that the code does no longer observe equally to a judge's spouse. Reading the code in Tribe's way would make it a subjective partisan device to be used in opposition to judges. Could judges rule in a case involving the political birthday party of the president who nominated them to the court? The entire concept of judges is to increase independent justice. If we interpreted the Constitution as Tribe would have it, however, a decide ruling in such a case would be an unconstitutional use of the code and, moreover, would require condemnation of that type of impartiality. Tribe's addition of spouse to the events protected via the code in a proceeding is virtually unwarranted involving Ginny Thomas. What's your take on this intriguing video? Drop your comments below and thanks for